Hello, everyone. This is Laura, and welcome back to Become a Fluent English Speaker. Today, I want to tell you about a habit that almost stole my dreams. It wasn't fear, it wasn't failure, it was something much quieter. Procrastination. For the longest time, I believed I worked well under pressure. Whenever I had an important task, I would tell myself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. And somehow, my goals always stayed in the future. One evening, I looked at a notebook where I'd written my dreams almost a year earlier. Learn English fluently. Read 12 books. Exercise regularly. Start something meaningful. I was shocked. The list hadn't changed, not because the dreams were impossible, but because I kept postponing the first step. A few days later, I met an elderly man in a public library. He noticed the notebook in my hand and smiled. "Planning your future?" he asked. I nodded. Then he said something I'll never forget. Dreams don't disappear because they're too difficult. They disappear because we keep waiting for the perfect moment. Those words stayed with me. As I walked home, I realized I had been waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for the right mood, but life wasn't waiting for me. That night, I created a simple rule. Whenever I didn't feel like doing something important, I would do it for just 10 minutes. Not an hour, not until it was finished, just 10 minutes. The next morning, I didn't want to practice English, so I started the timer, 10 minutes. When the timer ended, I kept going. The same thing happened the next day, and the day after that. I discovered something surprising. Starting was always the hardest part. Once I began, my brain stopped resisting. The task wasn't nearly as difficult as I had imagined. Weeks passed. My English improved. I finished my first book. I exercised more often, not because I became more motivated, but because I stopped negotiating with myself. I simply started. Looking back, I understand something important. Procrastination doesn't usually come from laziness. It often comes from feeling overwhelmed. When a goal feels huge, our brain looks for an escape. But when the goal is only 10 minutes, our brain says, I can handle that. And that's the secret. Don't promise yourself you'll finish everything. Promise yourself you'll begin, because action creates motivation, not the other way around. Today, whenever I have a difficult task, I don't ask, do I feel like doing it? Instead, I ask, can I give it 10 minutes? Almost every time, those 10 minutes become much more, and every small beginning brings me closer to the life I want. Maybe there's something you've been delaying. Learning English, starting a business, writing a book, improving your health. Whatever it is, don't wait for the perfect day. Start with 10 minutes. Your future doesn't need perfection. It just needs a beginning. Before we finish today's podcast, let's learn some useful English words from today's story. Procrastination, delaying something that should be done. Overwhelmed, feeling like there's too much to do. Motivation, the desire to do something. Pressure, stress caused by expectations. Habit, something you do regularly. Progress, moving forward or improving. Negotiate, to discuss something in order to reach an agreement. Now here's today's challenge. Choose one task you've been avoiding. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Work without distractions. When the timer ends, decide whether to continue. You might surprise yourself. Before you leave, answer today's question in the comments. What have you been postponing, and will you give it just 10 minutes today? I'd love to hear your answers. If you enjoyed today's English listening podcast, don't forget to subscribe to Become a Fluent English Speaker. This is Laura, and remember, your biggest achievements don't begin with giant leaps. They begin with 10 courageous minutes. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next podcast.